Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Brahmacārī Jamuna Tira Brahmacārī Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Brahmacārī Jamuna Tira Brahmacārī Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Maharaj ki, Kantarashya Bhagavatam ki, Go Premanandi. Let it blow. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 22, Text 14. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Svāyambhuva Manu continued, O wise man, I heard that you were prepared to marry. Please accept a hand which is being offered to you by me, since you have not taken a vow of perpetual celibacy. Purport. The principle of brahmacārya is celibacy. There are two kinds of brahmacārīs. One is called naiṣṭhika-brahmacārī, which means one who takes a vow of celibacy for his whole life, whereas the other, the upakurvāṇa-brahmacārī, is a brahmacārī who takes the vow of celibacy up to this certain age. For example, he may take the vow to remain celibate up to 25 years of age. Then, with the permission of his spiritual master, he enters married life. Brahmacārya is student life, the beginning of life in the spiritual orders, and the principle of brahmacārya is celibacy. Only a householder can indulge in sense gratification or sex life, not a brahmacārī. Svāyambhuva Manu requested Kardama Muni to accept his daughters since Kardama had not taken the vow of naiṣṭhika-brahmacarya. He was willing to marry, and the suitable daughter of a high royal family was presented. Omigyan timidandasya gyanana shalakya chakshumitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha Shri Caitanya manobhistam stapitam yena bhutale Svāyambhuva dadati svavedantikam Vanchakapatadubhischa kripasindhu vyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo namaha Yata yata yasmin duskurum sukurum bhavet Vismite vipriyate shashi Caitanya ninamitam Jai Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasiri Gauda Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, brahmacārya means one who always dwells in spirit. That's the meaning of brahmacārya. So, Brahman is spirit, and acārya, one who dwells in spirit. So this is the first step of human life. According to the Varnashram system, if you live for 100 years, your first 25 years is meant for celibate life. Second 25 years, household life. The next 25, retired life, vanaprastha. And the last 25, sannyas, renounced. Here we have descriptions of brahmacārya. There's naiṣṭhika-brahmacārī and there's upakurvāṇa-brahmacārī. So we have examples of naiṣṭhika-brahmacārīs in our modern acharyas. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a naiṣṭhika-brahmacārī. He never married. Even this it counts as not even having a girlfriend. It actually just means never losing any semen. That's a naiṣṭhika-brahmacārī. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was so powerful he could do such a vow. In Kali Yuga, it's very hard to find such people because the society is geared towards men losing control of their mind and senses. And if you look at any advertisement, there has to be sex involved, sex sells. Because the backdrop of this whole material manifestation is sex life. the material world is known as maituna agraha, which means the shackles of sex life. One time I was doing book distribution in Melbourne. It was a cold day, and I tried my best. And then I was looking across the road, and there was like all these police. They jumped onto this guy and arrested him, put him in handcuffs, and put him in the back of the van. So in my mind, I was thinking, oh yeah, I definitely never want to do what he did because he's in shackles. So in the same way, we've been shackled in this material world by sex life. But the weird thing is that everyone is chasing these shackles. Voluntarily, please shackle me up to sex life. In the 11th canto, Krishna is talking to Uddhava, that's called the Uddhava Gita. And he says the greatest distress is the pursuit for sex life. Just the pursuit alone is enough to cause the greatest distress. This is Krishna's opinion, he knows. The greatest happiness is to be transcendental to the three modes of material nature. And we're so fortunate that we can be transcendental to the three modes very easily. Krishna says in the 14th chapter, Mam cho virchirena bhakti yogena sevate saganan sametaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. That when one unflinchingly, in any circumstance, engages in bhakti yoga, at once they transcend the three modes of material nature. And that way they attain the platform of Brahman. They attain the spiritual platform. You become brahmacārī. You dwell in Brahman. You dwell in spirit. So easily done by bhakti yoga. So this is our way to lose our faith in sex life. A devotee has no faith in sex life. Where we put our faith is where we think we'll be happy. That's where we put our faith. This will make me happy, my faith is there. Money will make me happy, my faith is there. Prestige will make me happy, my faith is there. So many things we think makes us happy. That's where we put our faith. But why not put your faith in Krishna, the source of all happiness? Akila Rasamrita Muti. I like this name for Krishna. Prabhupada translates it as the reservoir of all pleasure. The living entity is Ananda Maya Vyasat, is always pleasure seeking. We never seek displeasure, only pleasure. So why not go to the source? So this is Krishna. Akila means complete. Rasa means like the juice from relationships, mellows. Amrita means that nectar. And then Muti means that form. So it's not impersonal, it's a person. We have an ocean of love to give, but we always put it somewhere limited. And this is the manifestation of lust, actually. Lust is just a perverted form of love for God, actually. It's described in the Purports in the 3rd chapter of Gita, that just like when milk is in touch with like sour tamarind, it turns into yogurt. So in the same way, our pure love of God, which was already there in our hearts, in touch with the mode of passion, becomes lust, selfish desire. Usually the main manifestation of lust is sexual enjoyment, but it can be any selfish enjoyment, something for my senses, this body, for my senses. Something from my eyes, my ears, my nose, my skin, my tongue, my genitals, like this. But the manifestation of love means to satisfy Krishna's senses. And how do we do that? So Krishna is known as Rishikesh, the master of the senses. So actually, just like we are part and parcel of Krishna, so our senses are part and parcel of Krishna's senses. They actually belong to him. And they should be used for his service. So our eyes, when we take darshan, is actually service to the Lord. When we read the books, we use our eyes in that way. Our ears to hear philosophy, kirtan. This is how we serve the Lord, with our ears. Our tongue to chant the glories of the Lord and speak about Krishna this is service with the tongue. And of course, to taste prasadam. And such a powerful process, Ata Shri Krishna Namadi, Nama Bhagranam Indriye, Seva Mukhi Jivado, Svāyambhuva Manu, that our senses are blunt, covered by material energy. We're kind of like blind to reality, to Krishna. He's the real reality, the eternal reality. So we cannot understand the name, the form, the pastimes. Our senses are too blunt. But by service with the tongue and mouth, by chanting and offering and eating prasadam, Krishna reveals himself to us. Everything gets revealed. And I remember reading the Brihad-bhagavatamrita. I like this part a lot. So it talks about Gopakumar, not this one, the original. Original Gopakumar. I highly recommend that you read this Brihad-bhagavatamrita. So we have the Bhagavatam, and it starts with Parikshit. He heard the whole Bhagavatam. But then his mother comes and says, hey, you heard the whole Bhagavatam, you have to tell me something now, you know? And Parikshit's like, but I'm going to die soon, I'm going to get bitten by this snake. Well, what can I tell you? No, you tell me something, I'm your mother. It's like, okay. So then he tells two stories. There's one story, the first one is Narada Muni is trying to find the best devotee. You know, so first he goes to he sees a brahmana in South India, and he's like, oh wow, you're so dedicated to your puja and worship, you are the best devotee. The brahmana says, no, it's not me, actually the king is the best devotee, because I'm just doing worship myself, but he's engaging the whole kingdom in worship. Oh really, I have to go see him. And then he goes to the king and he says, oh, you are the best devotee actually. He goes, no, I'm not the best devotee. And then he says, actually, Hanuman is the best devotee, because he's always sold out to Lord Ram. He goes to Hanuman, oh, you're the best. No, I'm not the best devotee. The Pandavas are the best devotees. You have to go to them because they were Krishna's friend. They were fully with him, you know, like that. They suffered so much for the Lord. Okay, we'll go to the Pandavas. Okay, you are the best devotees. Pandavas said, no, we're not the best devotees. You know, actually, Prahlad Maharaj is the best devotee. You know, and then it's like, okay, we'll go to Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj, you're the best. No, I'm not the best. So it keeps going like that. Eventually, it reaches the gopis of Vrindavan. So that's the first story. And the next one is about a cowherd boy named Gopakumar who's from Govardhan. And he meets a spiritual master and he gets a Gopal mantra. And he said, the spiritual master says, by this mantra, you'll be able to attain whatever you desire. And by this mantra, he starts going up the universal structure. You know, so he's in Earth, then he starts going to heavenly planets like this. Eventually he reaches the abode of Lord Shiva, which is beyond the Brahmana effulgence and everything. And it's quite interesting. So he comes to the abode of Lord Shiva, and he doesn't know who Lord Shiva is. He just sees this golden person with snakes on him and everything. And then his son Ganesh comes and says, actually he's the Supreme Lord. Everything rests on him like this. And like that, oh, I didn't know. And Lord Shiva, he sees Gopakumar dressed like a cowherd boy, and he becomes ecstatic. It's like, oh, you're from Govardhan? Wow! You know, he's so ecstatic that someone from Vrindavan is there in his abode. He says, yeah, you know, you stay with me here, you know, it'll be great. We can talk about Krishna and everything. But Gopakumar, he wants to see his Gopal, like this. So then a Vaikuntha plane comes, and the Vishnu Duta's on there. He says, okay, you're coming with us to Vaikuntha to see Narayan. Before Lord Shiva worships them, and there's a conversation between them. And there's some sages with Lord Shiva, and they say that they have this, the best way to meditate on the Lord is to have the mind fixed, meditating on the form of the Lord. It's all about the mind, you know. When one just chants, you're just moving your tongue and mouth, It's not. It's more external, but like the mind, yes, this is full meditation. This is like real stuff. Gopakumar tried that in Tapaloka and he didn't like it because he wants Krishna directly. He wants all the senses to capture Krishna. So then Lord Shiva asked the Vishnudutas, he goes, what do you do in Vaikuntha? He says, we just do Sankirtan. We just chant the glories of the Lord. And he's like, but what about what these sages are saying? He said, this is like external. He goes, no. They say it's not external. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one activates their super senses. I like that a lot when they say that. By doing Sankirtan, you activate your super senses. So we have these material senses, but we have the senses of the spiritual body that are covered up. So by chanting, you activate it, even though it looks like you're just moving your mouth and tongue. So that's what they do in the spiritual world, in Vaikuntha. They're just doing something. We're doing here and now. So that's the best way to transform that lust that's in contact with passion into love. To awaken that love in our hearts again. Nityasira Krishna Prema Sabakaranai Shravanari Surichita Koryodai. That this love of God, this prema, is actually not from an outside source. It's actually within, and by Shravanari, by hearing and chanting, and what follows that, one awakens that love like the rising sun. And this is what Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu gave us. He actually said, Narottam Das Thakur says, Goloka Premadan, Harinam Sankirtan. That by chanting the holy name, by Harinam Sankirtan, Goloka descends. You're in the spiritual world. The whole atmosphere changes when the holy name is chanted. Srila Prabhupada said that everyone, when the Harinam party goes in the street, the whole street is purified. But then even after the Harinam party is gone, anyone who walks through that street gets purified. There's a lasting effect. We have no idea how powerful this holy name is actually. If we knew, we would be chanting all the time. We would be always on Harinam. We would be doing kirtan all the time. But just due to our lack of knowledge or ignorance of Krishna, then we don't appreciate so much the kirtan. So that's pretty much what the Bhagavatam is trying to teach us. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Vyakta Kare Bhagavate Kara Bara Bara Kali Yuga Dhamma Nama Sankirtana Sara. He's saying that the Bhagavatam is revealing again and again. Kaha Bara Bara. Kaha means like to yell. Bara Bara, again and again. That he says that the essence of Dharma in Kali Yuga is Nam Sankirtan. Kali Nama Sankirtana Sara. Sara means essence. Kali Yuga Dharma. The essence of that Yuga Dharma, Nam Sankirtan. And like I mentioned yesterday, we see the introduction of the Bhagavatam is the life of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chanting, dancing, and feasting. This is our movement, actually. And a vow like brahmacārī, it's next to impossible to practice in Kali Yuga. Brahmacārī vow means not to even think about it, sex life, to even see another woman or to talk about it or hear about it. There's a verse that talks about what it actually is. So pretty much in Kali Yuga it's impossible. And so many men have had illicit connections leading up to this, and even if that didn't happen, unfortunately young men are addicted to pornography, which is capturing the minds of so many. And then when they come even to try and have a relationship and be married, because of that warped nature of pornography, it ruins relationships as well. So even materially, people cannot be stable just because of the over-sex civilization that's being created by modern society. So what is our hope? It's Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. My spiritual master, His Holiness Kardama Muni, he was talking about living in the Amsterdam temple. And they would used to put all the dhotis together in one pile. And then he had to take it to the laundromat. So he just looked like a donkey, you know. There was like this bundle of clothes and there's just feet on the bottom. And he's walking to the laundromat and obviously has to walk back. But on the way, there's like a building saying like this, the Dutch, it was like some political parties, the Dutch party for some sexual reform. And you know, it's all, and on the windows there's all these like perverse versions of sexual enjoyment. It's like full out there. And Amsterdam's like that. I mean, the red light district you have there's the ladies in the window kind of thing, and they really took that perversion to the maximum level. Amsterdam's the place. So imagine being young brahmachari walking through this. What is the hope of like maintaining your celibacy? So the only hope is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It says, he was saying that Lord Chaitanya cuts the arrows of Cupid when we're being shot by sex desire. He cuts those up because we are dedicated to his mission. One could, and if one is so disturbed by this sex desire and it feels like, no, this is too much, one can call out to Lord Nityananda in their heart. He's so merciful. I remember doing that a few times. You're on the street, you're doing book distribution. You know, it's not just men, but also women, and you're trying to maintain, like, you don't want to feel like you're trying to hit on the girls or something like this, you know. You don't want to look at them as like a sense object, but your senses don't care. And it feels like they're more powerful than you. And then you just call out, Nityananda, like that from your heart. You just call out. And then he comes and helps. He goes, no, it's okay, I'm with you. You can call out. There's a story with Giriraj Maharaj. So this was during, I don't know if you read the Lilamrita yet? Prabhupada Lilamrita?
This condensed version.
Okay, so you kind of know. Okay, that's fine. You read it? Abhimanyu? The biography of Prabhupada, you read? Abhimanyu, you read?
Yeah, they give class on it.
Oh, they give
But I
class.
haven't like read the whole thing.
Okay. So you know about getting the Juhu temple, right? That was like a really tough battle
I don't think
in Mumbai.
knows it, but I know it.
They got this land, and then another guy tried to cheat him out of it, Mr. Nai, and like this. So when there was like a lot of court case going on, and Giriraj, he was brahmachari then. He's the son of a lawyer, so he knew how to work the law courts. You know, he was sort of representing. And Mr. Nai hired a prostitute to try and make him fall down. So he was in a taxi, Giriraj brahmachari, and all of a sudden this beautiful woman walks in, sits right next to him, and she's getting closer and closer, and he's thinking, oh no, this is it, I'm gonna fall down, this is it, it's over, you know, I'm gonna fall down. And then a thought came to his mind. So, but what would Prabhupada think? What would Prabhupada think? And just by that thought of like this love for Prabhupada, dedication to Prabhupada, he was able to like escape that situation. So it's by Lord Chaitanya and his representatives. We have to be connected to Lord Chaitanya. Some people want to jump and go to Radha Krishna's pastimes, Rasa Leela, the intimate conjugal pastimes, and hear these descriptions, thinking that this will conquer their lust. But because they're on the bodily concept of life, you're a Kali Yuga creature. You'll only think of it as sex literature. You'll think of it as like, just like in this world, young women and young men come together. You'll think of it that way, and you'll be disturbed further. Because these interactions between spiritual bodies are nowhere near the same as the interactions between material bodies, of the more disgusting, gross interaction of material bodies, of membranes and tissues coming together. No, these are spiritual bodies. And those interactions of Krishna and the gopis. And it's all based on selfless surrender and service. Somehow, whatever it takes to increase the pleasure of Krishna, that's my happiness. And if my unhappiness helps Krishna become happy, that's my greatest happiness. Complete selfless service, actually. There's no type of love like this. You'll never hear a love like this, actually. This is true love. This is the basis of their dealings with Krishna. Not this whole physical, or let me enjoy. No. What does Krishna want? And let's increase his enjoyment. And this is why Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. He's Krishna himself, the supreme enjoyer. And he's wondering, I'm the supreme enjoyer, but I see my devotee, Srimati Radharani, is enjoying a million times more than me. And then when she sees that I want to enjoy another gopi, she pushes that gopi forward to be with me. And her enjoyment increases 10 million fold. What is it about me that's so enjoyable? I'm the supreme enjoyer. I should know it. Because he's the object, he cannot enjoy himself. What is it about me that Radharani loves? I want to taste that. So then he takes the bhava of Radharani, the mood of Radharani. And Srimati Radharani, she said that, yes, you can take this jyoti of mine, the effulgence, this color, this golden color, because you'll become mad and ecstatic out of love for Krishna. You'll become mad. You'll jump and crash and roll on the ground and smash your face like this. So for you not to hurt yourself, I will take all those hits so you can enjoy without feeling any pain. What kind of love is this? It's so selfless. And he came, and how did it manifest? Not only just by experiencing that love, he did it, the love was manifesting by performing Harinam Sankirtan, by hearing Krishna Katha, by associating with devotees. Pretty much what we do in this movement, we're pretty much following in the footsteps of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And that love was never available before. This love of the resonance of Vrindavan for Krishna. It was always Vaikuntha, Vaikuntha. Even previous Kali Yugas, there is an incarnation of Vishnu who would preach Harinam Sankirtan as the Yugadama. But one would attain only Vaikuntha, or in reverence for the Supreme Lord. But this most intimacy was never given until Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu came. Because he is Krishna himself. Only Krishna can give Krishna prema. Advaita Acharya understood this. That's why he prayed and cried. He had worshipped the Shalagram Shila with Ganga Jal and cried for Krishna himself to appear in this world. To give Krishna prema, the love of Vrindavan. So, there's no way to achieve Vrindavan without the mercy of Gaura-Nitai. This is the point I'm trying to make. It's through them that we get this highest love, that highest understanding. And that is done by serving their mission. Krishnam Varanam Tasa Krishna Sangosto Pasadam Yagye Sankirtana Praya Yajanti Hisamerasa. That Krishna appeared not in a blackish form. He is always chanting Krishna's names. He appeared with his associates and weapons. His associates, the Panchatattva. His weapon was his beauty, actually. And what did they do? Yagye Sankirtana Praya. People worship him by Sankirtan Yagya. Those who do this have good brain substance, Sumedasa. So this is our way to execute real brahmacārya, to be always on that spiritual platform. Where there is naiṣṭhika-brahmacārī, whereas grihastha-brahmacārī, one needs to be dedicated to the mission of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. One needs to always take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. And it's so easy. Prabhupada is available in the book, actually. If you're like worried, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? if you're stuck in a situation where you're overcome by lust or anger, you can get really angry and you're going to offend someone. Or you're going to be greedy for something. You see some wealth, opulence, and you want it for yourself. You know it's wrong. Then you call out to Prabhupada, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Buddhale Shimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deva Gauravāṇa-brahmacārī Nivashesha Sunyavāri Pashyata Deshatani. You stop for that moment, you chant Prabhupada's pranam mantra, and you pray, please set me free from these disgusting things in my heart. And he'll help you. Prabhupada said, you put your problems in front of me, just by one kick, I can get rid of them. But we have to put them in front of Prabhupada first. Because, yes, it's not possible to practice this principle of brahmacārya without the mercy of the Lord in Kali Yuga. And if one cannot maintain such a vow their whole life, then one can marry, but still there are vows in that ashram. There's still vows in that ashram. It's not unlimited sex life or something, no. One needs to have sex to produce children so they can benefit society. And this is also maybe something that needs to develop in our movement, this mood of having Krishna conscious children, more gurukuls or schools. It doesn't have to be a gurukul where they have to live there, but Hare Krishna schools. We have Christian schools, Catholic schools, even Muslim schools. Why not a Hare Krishna school? Or call it a Hindu school, and then it's an opportunity for preaching, because many non-devotees will send their kids there and learn the Gita and the Bhagavatam. You know, in the West, the Indian population is becoming more prominent, and in Australia, October is considered Hindu month, because in that month is like Diwali, the Durga Puja, there's Kartik also. So there's so many like festivals in that month. So yeah, in Australia they're doing that. So because they're becoming an economic power, even in the world, I think now it's like the GDP is like number 5 or something, and they've got the biggest population, so it's huge. You know, so why not have educational facility that's based on the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam? And usually the teachers will be devotees, because they're the only ones that thoroughly know these scriptures and know how to teach in such a way one can apply it in everyday life. It's not just theory, it's not just, oh, let me show off my slokas. No, I'm going to live this. Our movement is very young. It's only 50, 60 years old. Christianity only picked up after 400 years after Lord Jesus Christ left. So there's a lot of ground that's been covered already. But yes, we still have to do this. Even though our movement has had a history of like teachers in gurukuls misbehaving, doesn't mean you throw out the whole system. But a lot of devotees that I know now, they're doing homeschooling. It is hard because you still have to maintain the household and teach your kid. So what some devotees have done, there's like a group of devotee parents, so then each parent teaches a certain subject. So then for a certain subject, one parent would teach that. And then so they have friends, and they're not like home alone or something. And then, they sort of move around to each devotee's place, and they get schooled that way, but they come up with great character. And I've seen kids, they've been homeschooled the whole life, and they're like 15, 16 years old. And they're so sweet kids, very intelligent. They go into the mainstream schools just to do the exams, and they just ace them, because they're not bombarded by junk in their mind. Like, I'm traveling with Nitai Padakamala. He was telling me like, yeah, all this stuff in school was easy, I didn't need to study or nothing, because I could just listen and understand. His mind was not bombarded. He's been chanting rounds, he lives a pure life, so for him to take information was easy. But the other kids were so slow compared to him. But for some reason, there are many devotee parents who think, no, I don't want them to be outcast in society. They'll miss out on so much. Actually, all the terrible things you learn is in the schoolyard from the other kids. Why would you want to put your kids in such a situation? So yes, Prabhupada is correct saying that these modern educational facilities are slaughterhouses for our children, spiritual slaughterhouses. And we can see the result of modern education. They create animals. Every year we do this thing called Schoolies on the Gold Coast. The kids finish their metric, 30,000 kids go there. And what do they plan to do? Drugs, alcohol, illicit sex. And many are like dying from overdose. Many get alcohol poisoning, they have to get their stomach pumped out. Girls get raped, many girls losing virginity. Many people have such a terrible time. Some are getting into fights in the evenings just because of frustration. Animals, literally. That's the result of modern education. Why would we want to put our kids in that situation? We need to protect our children. We need to create an atmosphere where they can grow up in Krishna consciousness. They may not practice brahmacārya and be in a temple at 5 years old, but no, the Bhagavatam itself is showing the correct attitude towards sex.
Sorry, most schools now are even condoning atheism, to be honest with you, and
Sorry, you can. Yeah, so atheism is the key. I mean, what to speak of like this whole gender dysphoria and trying to encourage puberty blockers. This is such a scam, by pharmaceutical companies, because if you get someone on puberty blockers, then you got a customer for their whole life, because they have to keep taking them their whole life. Whatever the estrogen or the testosterone to maintain that gender. It's just a scam. And somehow they infiltrated the education system. Why should we try and put our kids in such a situation? It's not only like misidentifying with the body, but even the wrong body. So it's even furthering the illusion. So getting really political now. I just want to paint a picture of Kali Yuga. It's really there, it's out there, we're safe in the temple, but it's there.
And it's only the beginning.
So that's why the Sankirtan movement needs to spread. We need to get the books out there. We need to get prasadam out there. And in South Africa, you can easily enter institutional education institutions with prasadam, at least. Food for life for kids. Yes, we're going to do it. Yes, bring them in. Healthy vegetarian foods. Yes. Bring them in. And then hopefully we have our own educational institutions. So what? Call them Hindu schools. We'll take it, but we'll be the educators. Prabhupada made ISKCON to establish a class of brahmanas so they can guide society. But we can only be brahmanas if we become well versed in these books, the law books for the next 10,000 years. And the manifestation of these books should be the chanting of the holy name going widespread to every town and village. This is how we take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is how we can conquer lust. This is how we can conquer greed and anger. So I'll stop here. You can comment, reflect. Okay, take this.
Because I know the word lust is being used, but lust is karma, right?
Karma, yeah.
Karma, right? But it's not just sexual desire, it's more like our general desire, to want money, to want... because I think that sex is just the most ultimate...
Yes.
Yeah, it's the ultimate enjoyment for human society. But if we try to dovetail that love in Krishna consciousness, isn't that still lust? Like to say, oh, I want to do this service, you still have that strong desire. So is that bad or good, and how do we manage that? Because I still feel like it's, it's lust in Krishna consciousness. It's like, oh, I want to do this, I really want to do it. So how do we...
Oh wait, so you're talking about doing like something for Krishna,
even if it's, let's say...
but it's like your idea.
Yeah, let's say it's even like, oh, I really want to do Harinam. But it's like, oh, you really want to do it, I want to do it. It's still lust.
No,
that's
love. Because it's not, it's for pleasing Krishna's senses.
Now what if it's in a situation where it's, you want to do it, but you're not doing it. Like, you've not been told to do it, you're rather doing something else, and your desire is still at this point. Like, let's say I really want to cook, but they told me to do something else.
Sure.
Like...
Okay, so this is, yes, I understand your question.
Let's just put it not lust, let's say it's desire.
Yeah, it's more in the realm of desire than lust, yes, of course. Yes, so when we first come to Krishna consciousness, we don't know how to love Krishna. We don't know how to serve Krishna. We have to admit that. We read the books, we're very interested, and then, like I said yesterday, we kind of project what our spiritual life would look like, how I will serve Krishna. That's what I think. So the authorities, actually they're sent by Krishna. They're there in that position because Krishna put them there. So then when you act in such a way, your mentality is like, okay, Krishna has put this person there to engage me in his service. And it doesn't need to be a guru, it can be a temple president, a temple commander, they're sent by Krishna. So the idea is that we have this mentality, I'm just a servant, and then Krishna sent this person. So what they sort of, especially in a temple environment, it's kind of like the army in some ways, It's like whatever the sergeant says, it's like, yes, sirs, I'm doing it, So in a temple environment, it has to be like that. And that's kind of, even if we feel like it's not the right thing, we should do it, actually. The best example is the Pandavas, right? So they all were different personalities, but whatever Yudhisthira decided, what his decision was, they followed anyway. Like, say for example, when Duryodhana was captured by the Gandharvas, and then Yudhisthira heard, and he said, okay, Arjuna, Bhima, go and save him. Bhima didn't want to have any of it. Even Arjuna didn't like him. And then Yudhisthira had this reasoning, it's like, no, between each other, I'm Pandava, we are the Pandavas, they're the Kurus. But for the public, we are all Kurus. We're all on the same team, actually. So you have to go and save him. And even Yudhisthira says, I will not go because I have to finish this yagya with the Brahmanas. So you, Arjuna, Bhima, you both go. So he's making the decision, he's not even going, because he's the eldest brother, they have to follow. And they do that out of etiquette and respect. This is out of dark, this pleases God. So when our authorities come to us and say, yes, I would like you to do this service and not this one, we should actually do it, actually. But it's for pleasing Krishna. You may not like that person, and that's fine, you're allowed to not like that person. But because Krishna has put him there in that position, and then you're like, okay, Krishna, you put that person there, you want me to serve under him, I'll do it for you. I'll make it smooth, whatever the execution needs to take place. And Krishna is very pleased with that. And then you'll feel more connected to Krishna. It's a very interesting concept, actually. It's very opposite.
Also, when you do your service that you are given, you are showing that surrender thing, because it's not easy to get purified or to see purification in you unless you are able to take those instructions and carry them out. See, my main service is being in the pujari. I'm a bhakti, and when I told their reaction, I just laughed. But I do it and I love it. Well, I didn't love it in the beginning because I know there's so many things I can do better. And I do it with best of my ability. And the pujaris can see it. You know what I'm saying? It's like being at the bottom there but running the place. I wouldn't have seen it if I approached it having problems and whatnot. But I laughed. I mean, I asked Prabhu, there's so many things I can do. He said, I really want this one specifically.
Yeah.
He knew it would purify me. I didn't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, but I still get the opportunity to preach for it being my nature.
Yes.
I speak to people, I try to do what is doable in the spaces, but I value the service I was given.
Yes.
So it's just trying, and all services are important and equal to Krishna.
Yes. Very important. But just to sort of have another side to it, it doesn't mean that you can consult your authority. You can give suggestions. That's allowed. You can still think and give suggestions. It's not like you become a robot. You can still think. You can give suggestions. If you're having, like, say if you have another idea how you can be engaged, you can suggest, do you think I can try and do this service? I kind of like it instead of this one. And you're allowed to, but they have the final say. And then you can also consult. Say if you have a problem with a certain service, or another devotee, or something that you're allowed to communicate this. I'm feeling not inspired by this service, actually I'm more inspired by this service, or this devotee is giving me a hard time, because they're higher than them. You can, what's the best way to go about it? Usually what happens, we don't communicate until it becomes like a big, big problem, where it really it's really stressing us out, and then we dump this whole big thing on the authority. It's like, rah, this is raw, I feel like it's crazy. And then they're like, whoa, I didn't even know this was going on. What happened, You didn't tell me anything earlier. So it's on us being subordinate to actually communicate if we're having some troubles, if we have a desire for another service or preaching in a service. We have to keep communicating it, because their job is just okay, there's a whole list of services they need to be done, and we have some devotees who are here to serve, and we should inspire them. So that's what they mean, getting things done. But your own personal emotional state, mental state, physical state, that's your responsibility to communicate to them. Because they're happy to help, but if they don't know, then they can't help you. So there's some responsibility on our side. The cultish mentality is just okay, I just do whatever is told, I joined this cult, and they're supposed to take care of everything. No, we're not robots. We still have some responsibility on our side to at least communicate if we have a problem with something. Even when Bhima, he didn't want to go, he told you, he said, I don't want to do this, I don't want to go and save Duryodhana. And then you just said, he made the executive decision, no, this is what we have to do. As you go on, especially when you get initiated, have a spiritual master, then you have what seems to be an even higher authority, representative of God. So what happens is that Vaishnavas, if they're a temple authority, they'll ask you to do service. Or, maybe you're going in this direction or that direction. We will do it as long as it doesn't conflict with the mood and desire of our spiritual master. We may speculate that it's not. So then if you're unsure whether it conflicts or not, you have to tell the spiritual master. I'm being engaged in this way, I think it's not right, what do you think? And if they say no, it's fine with me, then you carry on.
My Guru Maharaj doesn't want me doing the puja duties. He discourages with
Yeah.
He's the one that always spoke of preaching.
Sure.
He wanted me to come to the university thing and whatnot. But authorities are authorities. I can't just come here and do all those things.
Yeah, so that's why
I have to find a way of them happening naturally, because
that's why communication is required.
yeah.
You know, you can't just like expect them to read your mind. It's not possible. You know, so you can express like, okay, I like this service, it's nice. Like all services are nice. We're not saying one is bad and one is. They're all so sweet. One gets realization. One feels happy. You know.
Purification.
Once you do it, like, cause in the beginning you think, no, it's not for me. Then you start doing it, and you get attached. It's like you can't live without it. So any service is great. It's a great benediction. But obviously we want to fulfill the instruction of our spiritual master. So that needs to be expressed to your temple authority. It needs to be expressed to them. And if they say no, then you have to tell your spiritual master that your temple authority is not allowing it. And then from there, it's from the spiritual master if he wants to get involved or not. And then whatever the result, you leave it. In this way, you're always respectful to your authority, to your spiritual master. You don't put your spiritual master under the bus, you know. It's like, wow, my guru said, no, you're always in the middle between them two. You know. You don't put your spiritual master in front of the temple authority and say, hey, okay, can you tell him? No. You communicate between the temple authority and the spiritual master. You're always in between. It's like when Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad Maharaj, when did you learn all this? Who taught you this? He didn't say, oh, Narada Muni. He didn't say. Why didn't he say? He's protecting his spiritual master. You know, no, this is my idea. So it's quite a refined culture of etiquette when it comes to dealing with devotees. It's not like so black and white. You know, one needs to constantly think at each step, what's the best action? Consult Krishna within your heart. What should we do next? How to consult? What's the next step? There's no autopilot or unconsciousness in Krishna consciousness. One needs to be independently thoughtful. So anyway, that's a whole seminar we just did. Thank you so much. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Kantarasham Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.